I suggest that we move a little bit to the front, but the front row is reserved for our honored guests. And I'm going to ask our honored guests, our members of the bench, to come to the front seat. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest of honor, the former Chief Justice, has just arrived, and I'll ask you to be on your feet to welcome our honored guest. Welcome, CJ. Welcome, Chief Justice. Our former Chief Justice is here, ladies and gentlemen. We are so honored by his presence. Yes, thank you for that standing. It was only a standing. I did not hear a standing ovation. Welcome, CJ. That honor is due on you. You have created a path that a young man like me can come from humble beginnings and have 4 presidents of this country signing under his name. And I'm hoping we're going to mention those presidents tonight. Thank you very much for honoring us with your presence. And today you are in a company of lawyers. I know you are always in a company of judges, but I think this is a good start to your retirement. You are going back to your roots. Thank you very much. You can have a seat. Ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome here, but I have a program. I'm not sure whether everybody has got a program because it's a very small program. We were supposed to start at 6 o'clock and finish at 8 o'clock. I'm going to request everybody that has an opportunity to speak here to respect the time. We all know our former CJ is not a man of few words. We're going to give him all the time he needs. Yeah, without any further ado, those who are coming here for the first time, this is the home of TSA, this place. This physical place is the home of the Tshwane Society of Advocates. This event is hosted by the Advocates for Transformation. And before I go into the program, I'm going to call on the stage Advocate van den Boeget SC, who has been tasked with the honors of welcoming everybody to this place.
Thank you, everyone. Esteemed guests, it's my privilege to welcome you all here. I don't have a list of names. I am here to welcome you on short notice. So I'm going to start with the Chief Justice. I'm still going to call you Chief Justice. Justice Zondo, you are now in the place that I call my home. And this is the Tshwane Society of Advocates. It's where we all are here to work together for one goal, and that is probably to establish an even better democratic society than one has seen throughout the years now. And it's an honor and a privilege to welcome you here to this building, to welcome you here to our chambers. And we thank you from us, and also I assume from the AFT, that you come and honor us with your presence today. Then I see judges, esteemed judges and esteemed other guests. I'm not going to name everyone. I'm just going to say welcome. We honored that you took your time off, that you took the time to come here and to honor a great man that walked a long road in the judicial history of our country. And I also want to say thank you to all the members of the TSA that are here today. Thank you that you took your time on a Friday night, didn't go out on a braai or a drink or something, and you're here. And I must say, it's really a good thing to have at an occasion like this so many faces that took the time on a Friday evening and came here and to come and celebrate a great man that walked the long road. And thank you everyone for here. I'm going to keep it short, and I hope that you have a good evening and that you enjoy the evening in our company and that we make a great success of this evening. Welcome everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Advocate van den Boeget SC. Yes, I like telling people that you are my twin, which is true because we've been to the NGOs together, we've been to the bar together. You've been in and out, but I've been at the bar forever. And then we also got those signatures together this year. So you are my twin. And we are here in TSA together. Yes, thank you. In my language, they say, yes, it's the owner of the house that must welcome the guest. And you did very well. I, however, just need to mention a few names, and I will mention other names every time I get an opportunity for the microphone. And we are honored by the presence of the former Judge President of the KZN, Judge Japi. We are honored by your presence. Together with his partner, our former colleague. I spoke to Judge Hasim yesterday on the phone, and she said, please call me Soraya. And I said, no, Judge, I'm talking to you about the matter that appeared before you. So you, I can't use your first name. So Judge Hasim is with us. Everybody who is here, who's associated with us knows you. We are always honored by your presence, and thank you very much. And you told me yesterday, TSA is your home. If everybody didn't know, Tshwane Society of Advocates is the home of Judge Hasim. And we are also honored by the presence of Justice van der Schaiff. Thank you very much for coming here. You are always in this building. I saw you during the week, and I saw you when we were launching TSA. So we might just as well adopt you. Yes. And I'm also told that the former CJ has brought us his family in the form of his son. I don't know where he is. Oh. And I'm also told that you came with your partner. Thank you very much for honoring us with your presence. Yes. And we will mention other guests as we go along. And some of the guests that are here are family to TSA that we even forget to mention them. We think you are part of us. The next item on the agenda is from Advocate Mervyn Rip SC. Mervyn Rip SC is our elder. We call him our elder, but he's not that old. You will see when he comes here, he's still one of the youngsters to come and address us about the significance of today. Mervyn, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Master of Ceremonies. Special welcome to our guest of honor, Chief Justice Zondo, and to our guest of honor, Chief Justice Zondo, and the various judges that we have here, the chairman of the GCB, our chairman, one of the most famous pharaohs, Akhenaten, who was in fact the father of Tutankhamun, who most people would know who that is. So she comes from a very distinguished line. And that bust is still considered one of the finest pieces of Egyptian art. Other ancient civilizations that I'm sure all of you are aware of and have seen images of adopted busts, and some of those famous busts obviously come from the Greek civilization that gave us democracy, many of the values we're still grappling with today to try and achieve and implement in an equitable fashion, such as Socrates and Aristotle and the other greats from that era, followed by the Romans, who stole and adopted many of the Greek habits. One of the most famous of those busts is someone everyone would know, and those people who are old enough to still have to do Latin, such as Julius Caesar and the Emperor Augustus from those times. And we've seen many famous busts of famous people that appear in museums all over the world, including going into the more modern era, someone such as Abraham Lincoln, who played such an important role in the emancipation of slavery and bringing some equity to the United States. So the question arises, what do we take away from this rich legacy of busts? What does it mean that we have such a bust? And if we look at the majority of these busts, they were important in that they were created to immortalize important individuals, to recognize the significance, importance, and prestige of the person portrayed by the bust. If we take those values of what the bust represents in history and of all these important people, we know many of the times through their busts, because obviously they didn't have Instagram in ancient Greece and those places. These busts and the values that they bring with them, if we leapfrog into tonight's prestigious event and the bust that is here tonight to honor the Chief Justice, we can say without doubt that the significance of this evening and the significance of this bust is if we take the historical situation as opposite to Justice Zondo, in recognizing him and the importance, the prestige, and the significance of the contribution that our Chief Justice has made to all facets of South Africa, by eventually rising to the crest of our legal profession as Chief Justice. And in a conversation we had a little earlier this evening, we were talking about what's the Chief Justice now going to do when eventually he has time to enjoy his retirement once the dust is settled. And we got talking about some of the things that he was experienced, as for example, the Commission on State Capture and the important role that the Chief Justice played in giving the ordinary people. In fact, one of the individuals there mentioned how their community, and I think this is true for most communities, were impressed by the values, the standards, and the equity that was seen from our Chief Justice performing the role of the Commissioner in that long-winded commission. And that gave a lot of credibility to our justice system and gave a lot of credibility and hope that South Africa can be normalized in an ordinary way. So the other important feature, of course, of tonight and significance of giving this bust is that this recognition that is being shown to the Chief Justice is coming from the profession itself, namely the advocates, and through the advocates for transformation and with assistance of the TSA, to recognize what the Chief Justice has done and to recognize not only the Chief Justice but our entire legal system and the appreciation we have for all those who are judges and part of our legal system and the work they do. It is a mark of the appreciation that the bar has for all the work and sacrifices made by our judiciary under leadership of individuals such as our Chief Justice and as our role models and leaders in this profession. So to us and to me, and I think to everyone here, the significance of this event in recognizing that through this gift to our Chief Justice is an important and remarkable recognition and something which we hope transfers the appreciation we have for our Chief Justice to him and to everyone associated therewith. Thank you very much, and thank you for being here.
Okay, thank you. By the way, our DJ is a silk. He is Terry Mutau SC. So he is a man of many talents. CJ, the host here, TSA, we are a very small and very young bar, but we have produced, and I have already mentioned a member of the bench, Judge Hasim, and at the back there we have Advocate Zalfa Rapeso. I want to recognize her. She is now the chairperson of the Refugee Appeals Authority. And she's a member. We call them members, but they have left us. I also want to recognize the presence of the head of legal at SIU, Stella Zondi. I also want to recognize the head of legal at Ikurileni, Kenny Bihari. And I also want to recognize many distinguished guests I just cannot come to all of you now. There's one thing I've mentioned during my introduction. You know, Council always go back to the notes or go to the junior to remind him about the 4 presidents that sign under the CJ's name. And this is not my creation. I stole it from one of your speeches, CJ. But I liked it so much that the 4 presidents that we had, and this is the CJ's CV at the later years of his life. President Mandela appointed the CJ as a judge of the Labour Court and the judge of the Gauteng, which used to be called the TPD. Then President Mbeki appointed our CJ as the JP of the Labour Appeal Court and the Labour Court. And President Zuma appointed our CJ as a judge of the Constitutional Court, again as the Deputy Judge President of the Constitutional Court, and again as the Chairperson of the State Capture Commission. And President Ramaphosa appointed our Chief Justice as the CJ. As you all know and have seen his interview, a man that came from those humble beginnings has laid a path for us, has inspired us, and has his name associated with the signatures of 4 presidents of this country. I think that deserves a round of applause. And again, I'm going to steal from the CJ. When you described the difficulty, I don't know whether to call it a difficult because I haven't been there. I've acted once and Judge Van der Scheve helped me a lot. We shared the agent court together. She helped me a lot. She gave me only the easy cases. But this is what you said about the ethos and the difficulties and what is faced by judges. And I said the CJ is not a man of short words, but in this era of Twitter, I'm going to cut it short. And this is very profound, but because you are giving this to inspire the nation, but also to inspire the members of the judiciary. You are speaking about the job. You said this job forces you sometimes to make that judgment you yourself do not like, because when you make judgment, it is not you personally that want to do what you want to do, but it is what the Constitution and the law requires. And that is all that we needed to know. That when you sit in that bench, when the judiciary sit in that bench, all they are dictated by is the Constitution and the law. It's not the popularity of Advocate Mojapelo. Having said all that, it is time to go to the main event and recognize the chairperson of the profession, Advocate Maron Durans. He wears so many caps. I can just call him Mr. Chairperson. He's the chairperson of our Advocates for Transformation nationally. He's the chairperson of GCB. He's almost the chairperson of everything that needs to be fixed. Advocate Durans, the stage is yours.
Night, then I know everything is gonna be alright. In deep confusion, in great despair, when I reach out for help, He is there. When I am lonely as I can be, I know that God shines His light on me. Reach out for help, reach out for help. He'll be there, He'll be there. Within your troubles, within your troubles, you can share, you can share. If you let, if you let, life you love, life you love, you get the blessing, yeah, from above, from above. Heals the sick, yeah, He heals the lame. Says you can do it too, in Jesus' name. I lift you up and He turns you around, and He puts your feet back on higher ground.
Mos, Terry and I used to be on one floor, but we also shared chambers. We swapped. But one thing he's learned from me is his taste in music. And I still... So I have to encourage him. Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, Chief Justice, former Chief Justice, Justices of the High Court and the former JP, welcome to our event. Let's just get the formalities out of the way, JP. I was told by Donald, the secretary of the AFT branch, who's also a founding member like me of the TSA. I'm a founding member, Mos. Gave me a few rules. The one rule is that they said is, in this bar, they don't associate themselves with politics. They asked me to obey that rule, and the second one is no loud music. So I also committed to obey that rule. So there's no loud music as far as we are concerned. But in relation to politics, everyone that knows me, Chief Justice, at our events, we refer to each other as comrades. Now, I'm not sure what to do with this instruction from the TSA, but having said that, I just wish to recognize my compañero comrade from Swaziland, the president of the People's United Democratic Movement. He's here. He's just, Umlungisi. Umlungisi has just survived his 4th assassination attempt by the Eswatini government. And I think you got now, what, 5 lives left? Of the 9, but welcome, welcome Umlungisi. Today's event is primarily organized around the Chief Justice and what you've done for us as a country. Now, this event could not have been possible without the relationship between the bar and the judiciary. That's a relationship that comes since time immemorial. As you would know, that the bar was the hunting ground and the feeding ground for the appointment of judges. So the event, theme of today's event is themed, the role of the independent bar in a changing constitutional democracy. Now, I've been asked to be very brief because they say you are long-winded, not long-winded, but long-winded. But allow me to be 5 minutes. The legal profession in this country, like in the common law times, is divided into 2 branches, that of the attorney and that of the advocate. In the Justice Vision 2000 document prepared by the Department of Justice, there was talk and a push for the fusion of the profession, meaning the advocate's profession must be collapsed into that, and the attorney's profession must be collapsed, and we all should just be called legal practitioners without the referral profession and the cab rank rule being implemented. Now, that is not a new debate that has been had in our region. One just needs to go to Zimbabwe after their independence, and then into Namibia after their independence. And if you look at the models of both of them, why the profession was fused in those 2 jurisdictions was basically 2 reasons. The first reason was political reasons. Politicians felt that the bar at that stage was unwilling to change with the changing times and unwilling to embrace transformation. And so the politicians decided that the advocates' profession, the independent bar, should be collapsed. A second issue was the issue of socioeconomic circumstances based on race in those bars. For instance, in Swaziland, the majority of the attorneys were white, and then as independence, like in South Africa, gaining our freedom, more black practitioners entered the profession, and the barriers set up by the previous administration or the previous practices or those in charge, what we call briefing patterns problems in South Africa, caused the fusion and the collapse of the professions into a single practice. Now, South Africa is different because we faced the same exact problems in Namibia and in Zimbabwe, but here the politicians finally settled the debate by keeping the two arms of the profession, the referral profession being advocates, the attorneys, and then creating a sui generis advocate with a trust account. Now the debate of fusion is settled. The attorneys are still interested in the debate, but I think we've shown them that it's not necessary to enter into that debate anymore because there is a role for the advocates profession in society. Now in Namibia, when they gained independence, this was the following questions, relevant questions, the Namibian bar faced. It was about 7 or so. The first question was, should the profession be fused? We know that happened because of the reasons I've mentioned. The second question is, Mr. Chief Justice, should advocates roll in the magistrates' courts? We know that you've issued a directive and the directive has then been withdrawn by your successor. The third is, should we agree on a minimal of equal representation on governing bodies to ensure that the proper transformation takes place within the profession? Now we know in the Legal Practice Council, we've now, for the first time in the history of the Legal Practice Council, elected AFT's Puleseleka SC as the chair of the Legal Practice Council. In other words, an advocate is leading the profession. So this question of equal representation and rotation of chair is something that is still relevant in South Africa as it is in other professions, in other jurisdictions. The fourth one is, how do we deal with new competition laws in a profession which was once convinced that it's only about rendering service and not making of money? We know that they've changed. Chief Justice, you know our children can't starve. The Bible says you can't live by bread alone, but there's caviar that makes it nice, and there's all sorts of new artisan bread, Chief Justice, standards of living, and things have changed. So those are issues of pro bono services. So this question deals, comrades and colleagues, the question of what is our duty as the profession towards the indigent. Yes, there's a money-making element to practice, but more importantly, as an advocate, as a member of the bar, it is to assist those that don't have access to justice. Like the Freedom Charter says, the doors of the court shall be open, or doors of justice. So that is a question that is still relevant today, and something that, you know, it's a rule now in the LPC that we have to, I think it's 20 or so hours, a bit more, 40 hours of pro bono services, and we need to harness our collective energy and collective resources to combat issues of inequality and, violation of human rights, not only in South Africa, but in the region. The next point that was what was dealt with the Namibian profession is, what stance do we take regarding long outstanding judgments? We know under the Chief Justice that problem has been resolved, and judges are quite afraid to have reserved judgment because it's unprofessional conduct. But it's something we feel for the judges, Chief Justice, because they work under tremendous pressure, and to put that added pressure on them to get out judgments, in my view, as a labor lawyer, you would say, is cruel and intolerable. Then the next question that the Namibian bar had to deal with, how do we as a profession respond to attacks on the independence of the judiciary and the freedom of speech in our own country and neighboring countries? And that is still a question also relevant to us today. You know, traditionally the bar is the last line of defense when it comes to protecting the judiciary. Judiciary speaks through its pen. It doesn't have a police force, it doesn't have a military force that can protect them. That's why the bar is there. The bar is there to protect the judiciary and to protect the judiciary against unwanted attacks. And we need to be more active in protecting judiciary, Chief Justice, and it's something you and I have spoken before. But more importantly, I think also is that we must realize in South Africa that we don't practice in a cocoon. If you go into 4 hours drive, not even 4 hours drive down this side to the east, you'll find Eswatini, where there is human rights abuses happening on a daily basis, but yet the profession is quiet. In Lesotho, we understand that I got a call from the executive office of the LPC yesterday that say that as soon as you get admitted, you get qualified as a lawyer in the university, you graduate, you get admitted, and you go straight into practice. There's no intervention on practical vocational training. And that is the priorities we should set ourselves in South Africa, is to assist our brothers in the neighboring countries, especially SADC countries. It also ties in with what we spoke, Chief Justice, about the tribunals' powers that have been stripped. And we also need to make a collective effort as a bar to support neighboring countries in SADC. Because without prosperity in their countries, there will never be prosperity in South Africa. As Africa, we are one. The last issue that the Namibian bar had to face is how do we go about, as a profession, ensuring that Namibians are not governed by policies kept in drawers, but by legislation duly published. And that is still something also relevant in our country, because that is the checks and balances, the system of democracy, where we appoint our representatives on our behalf to govern us. And the law should be not kept in drawers like, and it's bylaws, etc. But the bar should ensure that we become more activist in nature, given the current times we face. You know, we need to accept this change and we need to embrace change, but we need to be more activist, take an activist approach in society and calling out the wrongs in society. Because without us calling the wrongs out in society, you know, society will think that it is right and proper to do so. This is not the tradition of the bar, it's not the tradition which we've been raised in the bar, and it's certainly not ethical for us to close our eyes. Chief Justice, so that is the importance of the bar, in my view, in current day South Africa. It has not changed since the independence of Namibia in 1991, and those questions remain relevant. Those questions have not been resolved. We have not gone back to the neighboring countries, learned from the lessons, and implemented better. Without a stronger bar, there can't be a strong judiciary. We've seen the importance of the strong judiciary, especially with your leadership under the state capture. And you can rest assured, you and the judges present, that as AFT, organized within the GCB and TSA, we will ensure that there's always progressive thinking and that these questions raised should always be answered and kept in mind and developed. Thank you very much.
Baka
I must say I was caught off guard by Mutau SC, Endurance SC. I didn't know that the Joburgers have got this rhythm. I mean, when you played and Myron Durance was dancing here, I saw the CJ standing up and dancing. And I looked around the room. The Praetorians were just standing like me. When did we lose the rhythm, Mevin? The CJ was dancing here and yeah, no, we lost it. Even the song now, you can see, he can recognize that I don't have the rhythm. Yeah, but we will get you. We will get you. We have Amapiano here. Yes. Thank you very much, Chair of the GCB, Chair of the AFT National, for those those good words. We are now going to move into the most important part of the evening. And I'm going to ask the chairs. I did not introduce our real host, the chair of TSA, Advocate Mpaka SC. We are going to ask you, our chair, to assist Durance SC in the ceremony of the bust. Yes, I can ask you to stand now. I was hoping that when Myron SC was here, would have asked the CJ to stand, because I've never asked a judge to stand. Thank you, CJ. Yes. Yes, this is the moment that we all came here for. This is the moment of the unveiling of the bust. It is such a beautiful bust, and I have no words for it, except that I have my chair. This is a gift from the Advocates for Transformation, but I have my chair here. I'm going to ask him to come again to explain it. Amen, amen, both of you, please. Thank you. There will definitely be a photo opportunity, because we are doing well with time. Can I ask Myron Durance and Advocate Mpaka SC to come to the stage just to give us a few words about the bust?
Good evening, former Chief Justice Zondo, JP Japi. I must say that Soraya sitting next to you there, he can tell you how many times he has been telling us, my husband is not well, please pray for him. So we've been praying for you at TSA, and we appreciate that you are here today, Judge Van der Skeef. Thank you so much. I know you're not with me last on an agent application, but you're welcome. And Pula Seleka is here, the new chairperson of the LPC. Please come and join us. He has made history by being the first advocate to lead the LPC. Welcome. Chief Justice, this bust means a lot to us. Only last week, I was at an art gallery And the owner said, "Oh, Moss, I've been waiting for you to see something special." It was a sculpture of Lady Justice with a broken sword, a broken hand, and a veil that was removed from her eyes. It really broke my heart. And he said, "Do you like it?" I didn't know whether to say I like it or not. But I was saying to myself, honestly, if we can have the Lady Justice without that sword, with open eyes, and also with a broken hand, clearly we'll know that things have fallen apart. It really invokes a sense to say that we cannot allow things to fall apart. And when we look at this bus justice, it's simply to remind you of the remarkable work you have done in making sure that the Lady Justice remained blind. The Lady Justice remained with a sharp sword, and the Lady Justice remained with firm hands to ensure that justice is dispensed. Your intervention was godly sent. It was not just a coincidence. So we want to appreciate you. And this bust also is indicative of the relationship that the bar must have with the judiciary. In most cases, the judiciary cannot speak for itself for many reasons. But let us be there as the bar to make sure that we empower our courts and make sure that they are able to dispense justice without fear and favor. So with my chairpersons here and the evergreen chairperson, would really like to say that we honor you. And at this time, I'd like to call on you to inspire us and give us your words of wisdom, as we always done when you are on the podium. Thank you, Chief Justice. You're welcome.
I think that the AFT wants us to celebrate. Can we celebrate, please? Thank you, Program Director, Chairperson of the GCB, Chairperson of AFT, other members of the executive of AFT present, my colleagues who are here, and all advocates and attorneys and other members of the legal profession who may be here. My son Mpume, Cindy, thank you for attending. I would like to first thank all of you for taking time to be with us this evening at this function that is very special and important to me. You had other things that you could have spent the time doing, but you chose to be with us. Thank you very much. AFT. I don't know what to say. Where does one get words that really convey one's appreciation when somebody has done something like this for you, something completely unexpected? You already did a dinner for me in my honor on the 31st of August, a wonderful dinner, well attended. We enjoyed ourselves. Actually, when my term of office ended, we were together at 12 midnight on the 31st, because it was on that day or that evening that you had hosted that wonderful dinner for me. Now, in addition to that, now this. Thank you very much. I don't know what I should say to really convey my appreciation. Mr. Jurens and your team, all I can say is, from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you. I'm very moved, I'm touched by this. Until this was mentioned to me, I believe on the day of the dinner, that when you mentioned that you were planning this, I had never thought that anybody could do a bust to honor me. So, thank you, thank you, thank you. Ngiyabonga kakhulu. In my language, we say kwaliwa ukwanda kwaliwa mthakathi, which literally means it's the witches and wizards who don't want people to multiply because they kill them using muti, because when people multiply, then they can help one another. But it's a way of saying thank you very much. I really appreciate this. So on behalf of my family too, I thank you for what you have done. I must tell you, Program Director, that since I retired, I'm a man of few words. Therefore, I will not take long. But I do want to say a few things. One, about some of the things that I believe contributed to me ultimately being the lawyer that I became and being the judge and the Chief Justice that I became. But also one or two things about the theme of this evening, about myself first. Some of you may have heard in some of my speeches how I have said, when I said how Mrs. Mxenge inspired me and gave me confidence when I was a nobody, so to speak, as an article clerk, she gave me a huge responsibility in her firm and showed that she had confidence in me. And that was how I ultimately got into labor law, which took me, as far as you all know, it took me. But it was because, despite the fact that I was an article clerk, I was not an attorney yet, she could give me a responsibility to take charge of their labor law department. And just said, make sure that you speak to those who know labor law so that you don't embarrass us. And because she had that confidence in me, I wanted to make sure that I never let her down. That was the first thing. Another one is that when I was in a white law firm, because I moved to a white law firm first I moved to another black law firm after Ms. Klenge had been assassinated, and thereafter we moved to a white law firm. When I moved to a white law firm, there too I was given a responsibility because there was only one attorney who was dealing with labor law, but he said at the time he was going to be busy at the University of Natal. He was virtually leaving me to look after the labor law, but he would come in from time to time. And I did a lot of labor law work in his firm. He gave me confidence too. But more than that, a number of trade unions said to me, we want to make sure that there are black lawyers who do labor law, because there were none at the time in Durban. And you must tell us, as soon as you feel you are ready and you want to open your own law firm, we will support you, we will give you work. So they had confidence in me. I was still doing articles still. And when I left that firm, they kept their promise and supported me. When I was appointed as Judge President of the Labor Appeal Court and Labor Court, I had only been a judge for 2.5 years. But the JSC showed confidence in me. And I went on to head the Labor Appeal Court and Labor Court for 10 years. I'm mentioning all these things because they just show what difference you can make in somebody's life, in somebody's career, if you show them confidence. That you are confident that they will do the job, you have confidence in them, that they'll do the job properly. I believe that those are some of the events that gave me confidence to do a lot of work. I remember with regard to the white law firm, I, as an article clerk, wanted to go and do a matter in the industrial court, an opposed reinstatement application. And on the other side, there was senior counsel and junior counsel. And my principal asked me, are you sure you want to do this? I said, yes, I'm sure. He said, no, it's fine. I'm sure you can do it. But if you develop cold feet, we can always brief counsel. And I went on and I argued. And the fact that I was successful was a bonus, because then I could do another one. So I mention these things to say, particularly with regard to young lawyers, give them opportunities. Women, give them opportunities. But it applies even when you are not so junior, maybe in relation to fields of law that you are not familiar with. You need to be given an opportunity to be given confidence, and that might help in building you and in making you very successful. So I just thought I must mention those. With regard to the theme for this evening, Mr. Jurens has mentioned a number of matters or issues that are very relevant. I won't repeat them, but I do think that when you talk about the role of an independent bar in a changing constitutional democracy, in the context of South Africa, you have to go back to say, what has the independent bar been doing over the years? You go back to apartheid. There are many members of the bar and attorneys who played a very important role in fighting apartheid and changing, making a contribution to changing South Africa to be a democratic country. So an independent bar needs to be an agent for change in order to create a better society. It needs to identify the most critical areas in our society which need to change in order to improve the lives of society, particularly those most vulnerable members of our society. It needs to identify them and see what role it can play. I won't go into a lot of issues, but I can say that one of the most serious enemies that our democracy faces is corruption. And all of us need to see what role we can play to reduce corruption and ultimately bring it to an end if we can. The independent bar must also look at what role it can play in order to help in the fight against corruption. Because corruption, if it continues the way it is going to make a mockery of our constitutional democracy. More and more people are going to say or ask the question, what is this democracy worth in this environment where the majority are not getting benefits, where their conditions of living and conditions of working are instead deteriorating? One way in which the independent bar can contribute to the fight against corruption is to see how it can assist whistleblowers. Whistleblowers get dismissed from their jobs. The independent bar needs to assist those. And when it assists them, it will know that it is contributing to the fight against corruption, because when whistleblowers have blown the whistle, but they are not assisted, they feel rejected, and they lose their homes, they lose their jobs, their kids at school have to be taken out of school because they can no longer afford them. Then others who would like to blow the whistle say, what is it worth? Because in the end, you are left alone. Those of us who fight corruption must see what we can do, among others, to help strengthen the position of whistleblowers, because they are so critical in uncovering corruption. And we must fight against corruption in order to make this constitutional democracy accessible to all and for all to enjoy the benefits that should come with democracy. With those few words, thank you very much, AFT, for what you have done. Thank you very much to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sure you all can see that that rivalry of advocates from this side of the Jaskei and that side of the is continuing, even with music. Every time I come here, he plays a song where I can't dance. No, I really want. No, yes. When my piano comes, we will see. We'll see. We'll get the Joburgers where we'll give them a competition. Thank you, CJ. Thank you very much. We are so honored by your presence. We are so honored by you coming to give us a word of inspiration. And there are so many lawyers here. Lawyers in the sense that we have legal advisors, we have attorneys. We have not acknowledged our attorneys, and advocates depends on attorneys. Any attorneys here? Can you wave so that I see you? Thank you for your presence, and we acknowledge you, and you are the first ones that must get whatever is going to be given here. After our guest of honors have received. Yes, we're doing very well with time, and thank you, CJ, for that short words. We are at the item called closing and Thanksgiving, and who else to assist us with? I'm going to call again to the stage Advocate Mpaha SC. He's the chairperson of TSA, the Tshwane Society of Advocates. He is a long-standing member of AFT, if not the founding members of the AFT. But I always remind them that when we founded AFT Pretoria back in 2000 and something, I put my signature on the Constitution. They've been trying to amend that Constitution for the last 20 years. CJ, you can ask for the Constitution of Pretoria, Society of Advocates, you'll find my signature there. I'm the new chair. I've appointed a Constitutional Amendment Committee. I don't know whether they will succeed. I'm not sure. Yes, with those few words, my chairperson, Advocate Mpaha SC.
Flowers.
Oh, how I wonder. Really makes me wonder. What's happened to you?
Thank you very much, former CJ. Once again, mine is just to say thank you and then close this session and make sure that we go and have something to eat and drink There's a lot of alcoholic beverages available. I hope that those who are here have used Ubers. Otherwise, we've got a lot of parking here. You can leave your car and then get it tomorrow. Thank you so much once again. I want to say to our former Jabi, thank you so much. I was so scared yesterday. They told us that we've got some fever. But here you are. You braced yourself to say, I'm coming to this occasion with your partner, Soraya. Jat van der Skeef, thank you so much once again. And I forgot also to acknowledge Bradon Mahon SC, the Deputy Chair of Johannesburg. Please apologize. I apologize for having forgotten you. You're welcome once again, and thank you for honoring this occasion. And what is more important for us, former CJ, it's about Zondo. I think without her, I don't think you would be where you are. And for that purpose, I'm going to ask our sister Zelfa. We have actually bought some beautiful roses for her. Just to say, you know what, without you, would not have our CJ here, or even you would not have been able to be where you are today. So, Sister Zelfa, can you bring those flowers? And I will ask you, Umakoti wako usisindi, azozamukela on behalf of Umama. Cindy, please, maufike kaya utshela umama ukuthi AFT ne TSA zithi siyabonga ma. Thank you so much. Ausin Tombana, can you please come as former CJ? Then, yeah, if you can bring us the gift to the former CJ. Ntombana is one of our baby juniors here. So, tell me that you really love me, and you'll always be my one and only, my only. Former CJ. It is chocolates, and there's a little bit of very expensive wines. In your retirement, as these people are troubling you with affidavits for the reviews and so on, please have a glass of red wine. God bless you. And to also thank our brother, Mr. DJ Terry VBS Mutau SC. Thanks so much for serenading us with so much nice music and for your efforts. He has basically donated all the sound and the music for the evening. And before we leave, that song of the CJ, please, that one, we cannot live without that song. You know that song. Thank you so much. And to all of us who have come on this Friday to be with us, thank you so much. And I want to believe that all of you will drive home safely and have a safe arrival. Thank you so much, and God bless. Thank you.
Yeah, no, everybody can see that. Every time I come here is a song that I can dance to. Terry? Thank you very much for our chairs, for those last words. And from my side, I want to thank everybody who has assisted with this program. We have made a lot of time. We're supposed to start at 6 and finish at 8. We started late, but we finished before 8. I need that award as the best MC. Yeah. So I'm told there are snacks that side. And I'm also told, with the direction of the chair of the AFT National, that we might ask the CJ for some photo opportunity with the bust. That can be done in conjunction with the snacks, with the mingling. This is a social event, so let's network. So with those few words, I don't want to repeat what my chairs have said. You are all welcome. We are done with the program. Thank you very much.
Looking back